tell a 25-year-old kid who has a week or two to live to have purpose or whatnot? And I was thinking, if I had the chance, and he actually passed right after the New Year, but I was thinking this because it came to me when I was trying to talk to him and trying to reach out to him. But if he were to realize his purpose and share that with the world, and if the world can hear it through the platform, if it resonated with someone else, that energy resonated, that purpose will live on. And if he realized that that purpose lives on, that week left, that 2 weeks left that he had, would be filled with something. Because there's so many people I've known with cancer that have just given up, you know. And I would love for you to share the story of your mom. What would she give back to the earthly realm today if she was still around? To kind of remind this earthly realm of who she was and what that energy is, so that she could just sort of live again.
She does.
Yeah.
She does live again. In fact, my mother contacted me 3 times after she transitioned. She made a phone call to me. It's not possible for a landline with an answering service to call itself. In other words, these phones nowadays, you know, they have the digital that says, call from such and such and such. And it came up as my name, call from Debra Wilson, but it's not possible for my landline to call me. It's possible for me to call my cell phone and have my home phone ring. And it happened when I was talking to her. My mother always made the bed before she left. She said, even if your room is dirty, it will make a dirty room look clean and neat if you made your bed, if you at least made the bed and kept that neat. And so I was making my bed and I said, Mom, I'm making my bed. From now on, I'm making my bed. I don't care if I'm running late for whatever appointment, I'm making my bed. My phone rang. Call from Debra Wilson. Not possible. And what came up was my number of the landline that was actually ringing. That's not possible, because if I call myself from my landline, what I get is, please check your messages, you know, whatever, you know.
Exactly.
You have 6 messages. We call my answering. So I knew that was my mom. I needed to pick up some DVDs that I had. Someone said, we're going to put together a reel of some stuff, blah, 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 blah. I went through and picked 33 random. And out of the 33, I picked 3. And out of the 3, I picked 1. I put it in, going through it, and the person I was with, it was a show that I used to do. I used to co-host, and my co-host goes, you know who's a great American? I said, who? She goes, your mom. How do you know my mom? Well, we have her on the other line. It was an episode that was on Mother's Day.
Wow.
So I got a chance to hear my mom's voice again.
Jeez. Oh my goodness.
My sister does the same thing back in New York. She goes, this CD or this DVD has no information on it. Let me put it in. And it was my mother reciting a poem saying, I'll only be here for a while, so always remember to smile. Wow. And it was just this old poem my mother read.
Oh, goosebumps.
Wow.
Goosebumps.
You know?
Yeah.
So, and she came back to me in a lucid dream at a younger age, because the last thing, I was not with my mother when she transitioned in South Carolina. And the last thing I was doing, I was holding this pillow, squeezing it, screaming into it, going, I just want to hug you one more time. Please, 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 let me just hug you one more time. Let me hug you one more time. I went to bed. And my mother was much younger in the dream before I was born. She came back to me before I was born at a younger, happier her. And she just looked at me like this in the dream. I woke up in the dream, and I looked, and I was aware that I was in a dream.
That's awesome.
Because I looked at her going, you're my mom, but I wasn't born then. You look so much younger. Look at you. And you're happy, and that's what I'm going in my mind. I'm like, Mommy, you're younger and you're happier and you're fine. And she just goes,
ooh, goosebumps.
Wow.
My mother was not a hugger. I used to smother her because she hated it. She couldn't stand it. She just doesn't like being held.
She wasn't shown.
You know, she would hug you and kiss you, but then that was enough. Pat and push off. But she was not a smotherer. And so I would do that on purpose to smother her. And she'd get off me, yeah! Kiss her all over her face. And I'd kiss her with my tongue like, no. Get off me, get off me. Oh! And it would make me, and sometimes I'd do it to the point where she would end up laughing because she was so upset. And we'd end up both laughing. But in this dream, she just looked at me. She never said a word. And in my mind, I'm going, that's my mom. Mom, you're so young. But no, I wasn't even born with, it looked like she was in her late 20s. Late 20s. And I was like, I wasn't even born then. And she just looked at me. She stared at me. And I was wondering why she was staring at me because she never said a word. And she just went, for the last hug.
Wow. So powerful how stories like that show that the Spirit still lives in us. And if we feel that. And if the people around us feel that, then they really are alive.
Indeed. And as I was saying before, the same thing. Science is math. Math is science. Science is nature. Nature is math. Math is the universe. All of it is the universe. And energy cannot be destroyed. It can it just transforms into something else. And so the energy of my mother and what she was on the planet through my DNA, through spirit, through love, through all of that lives on. And so as she continued to transition, for me, her passing would have been in vain if I chose to suffer. Suffering is a choice. Grief is love. Suffering is a choice. And so to move forward, to validate the experience of life and love and loss and joy, to be able to be there for someone else who has lost a parent or lost a mother, to also begin to heal as someone else shares the transition of someone they've lost. I get a chance to heal. I get a chance to validate that love. I get a chance to be empowered and empower others. Everything is up for this powerful love and healing, powerful love and connection, because healing connects us all. Everything that is healed means that something has to come together, and as things come together, we begin to recognize that we are the spiritual DNA of everything and all things, and we realize that yes, we're all a part of the one. We're all a part of the conscious collective of one. And so as we continue to have our individual and intimate journeys, our conscious collective is everyone has intimate and individual journeys, and then we come together, and there isn't anybody on this planet who doesn't have a story of love, of loss, of joy, of sorrow, of sadness, of success, of loneliness, all of those things. And once we are aware to live that divine truth that it is okay, and that is a part of our divine purpose, we then get a chance to support and lift somebody else by living our own truth and saying, I accept this, I embrace this, I rise with it. I rise from it and I rise with it. I forgive it and I realize that it empowers me. It is the weight that allows my muscles to get strong, and when I'm strong enough, I can put you down. Not in hate, not that I'm done with you, but in gratitude and humility for how strong you made me. I needed you there in my life. And your transition is not going to be in vain, because I recognize I can have greater love, greater awareness, and my story becomes a testimony for someone else who's going through it. Because it's not until you go through it that you see somebody else, you knee-jerk and run to that person because you've been there. Because you're running towards yourself. You're running towards your own healing as you support someone who's choosing their healing for themselves as well by accepting and embracing you as their image, as you accept them as yours.
And we have to be vulnerable and have that courage to let that part go. That's the key thing. I think once you tap into that vulnerability and shed away this human brain of yours, then you allow yourself to be kind of human. Then you allow somebody else to be human. And that's where that connection is. Oh, it's so beautiful.
It is. I saw someone in a store, the grocery store, and she was in line in front of me. And her energy reminded of my mother, and I just began to cry. And she looked at me, and instead of being upset, she smiled. And I couldn't help but smile. And just say, God bless you, and just thank you for this experience, because my mother's energy was in you. You reminded me of my mother so much that I could feel that energy. It was instantaneous. It was instantaneous. And my prayer for her and my love for her in that moment, my care for her, my want for her, my intention for her, just rose the vibration of me, and wanting to know that if my mother is a snippet in every single woman that I see, that I get a chance to, again, have an experience of my mother through you.
Oh my God, that is the Live Again project. Just because of your listening and your ability to open that up, that's what we like our viewers to do when they look back into people who have passed. even people that you hate, even your enemy, if you could look into their life and ask yourself, why were they that way? Why did they hate? Why were they this person? Were they not loved at some point? And if they had that love, who would they be if they were able to be pure energy and love? And now if we listen after this person has passed, as that person in that light, how can this person live again in our life? I think that's powerful. And the way you have listened to your mom and how she's appeared everywhere, that is a great example of the stories of a Live Again project, what they can tell and how they can unite the world.
Wow.
No, wow, thank you. Thank you. I would love for you to, Alexa, you're gonna get her Live Again story after this too? Oh.
Blessings.
Oh.
Wait, let me come up to you. Let me come up.
Yay.
Blessings. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I always imagine people like this, that when people we resent, people we're angry with, that they have a cancer that they don't know about, but you do. So would you sympathize or would you be angry with them? Exactly.
That happened to me on going to the march on Friday. I was going to the March Against Hate, and I was on the subway, and a tall black man walked in, and he was angry. He was just angry and ranting. I thought maybe someone walked in before him, but he was just talking, and everyone looked